we'd go to classrooms and they would start teaching you military strategies and stuff. And I knew a lot of the stuff they were teaching us because I had been through it for 4 years. And so the training, the drilling, the rifle stuff, the marching, I had that down. In fact, I was teaching it when I graduated from high school. So I started helping the guys that were having a lot of trouble. And a funny story is, like, we had a few minutes in the evening, so I got up on a table and I was teaching them the manual of arms, and to my surprise, the DI walked in and saw me standing up in the middle of the hut going, "What the hell are you doing?" And I told him, "Sir, I'm kind of showing some of the guys that are having a rough time how to do this." And he said, "Come here, sweetheart." So I jumped down, and he said, "Well, since you're showing them how to do it, show me what you're showing them." And he said, "Do you know your stuff?" And I said, "Sir, I absolutely know all my manual of arms." He said, "I'm going to put you through this, and I want to see if you're good enough." "No problem, sir." So I went through the whole manual of arms, and he just kept on shouting out commands, and I kept on doing things, and he looked at me and he goes like, "Wow, you really do know your stuff." And I said, "Sir, I was in ROTC for 4 years, and I was training platoons like you're training us." And he goes, "Well, I want you to be my platoon guide, which is the top guy in the platoon, and you lead us through all the parades and formations that we do." And I told him, "I'd rather not." I declined. I said, "I think I'd be more help to all the guys if I'm mixed with them instead of being in the front and these guys are all lost behind me. Let me be in the middle of them and help them and coach them." And he goes, "You know what you're giving up." And I said, "I have no problem with that." And I said, "I'd rather have the guys around me learn what to do and give somebody else the position up front." Okay, he wasn't happy about it. So it ended up that way. And once I told him I was in ROTC, I put a big target on me because he was watching every move I made. And sometimes, he'd catch my eyeballs drifting or something, and bam, he wanted to make an example out of me. And so I was made an example of a lot of times. My last name is Solace, and there was another gentleman by the name of Gonzalez. So we're out doing something, and I heard, "Solace!" I go, "That's me. Did he call Solace?" And they go like, "Yeah." And so I run in there, bang on the door. "Sir, Private Solace, request permission to enter. Come on in." And he goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Sir, you just called my name." He said, "I call Gonzalez." And all I heard was Solace from outside.
Right.
And I go, "Sir, I heard you say Solace." He said, "I said Gonzalez." And I said, "Sorry, sir." He said, "But since you're here, I want you to go get Private Gonzalez and bring him here, and both of you sharing what was going to be just his punishment." Okay. So our punishment his punishment was to rake up the area. There was no raking, it was all sand, but we had to make the nice little lines with the rakes around the whole billet area. And I'm out there doing this just because I got the name wrong. And so it was his way of teaching me to be a little bit sharper, everything, pay more attention, and it was just a funny story. After that, we graduated from boot camp, so now we go into... out of all the tests that we took, they said, "What school do you want to go to? What are you more proficient at. Some people were drivers, some were secretaries, some were office people, some were combat soldiers and that. And he said, Solace, are you going to make a career out of this? I said, sir, I don't know yet. My dad was a career Army man. And I said, I've thought about it, especially now that I like the way the Marine Corps is structured. And he says, well, we're going to send you to infantry training school. So we went. And of course, everybody has a basic infantry, and now you're going to go specialize in whatever you are assigned to do. And so infantry, went that way, studied for a couple more months, and then I received my orders that I was going to Vietnam. And of course, I had to tell my parents, and my mother was the worst one. And so I just told her that I got a vacation for 30 days, and then I'm going to go back for more training. And then she said, then what? Then what? Then what? And then I said, they're going to ship me overseas, you know. And she was always scared because my dad had been wounded in World War II. And so she didn't want her son to go to war. And I said, I'm going to be way in the back doing different things and that. And I'm just telling her, trying to make her happy. But I was in a rifle platoon in Vietnam, and we were thrown into the mix right away. I mean, we lived in the field, out on patrols at night. In fact, my job was security for the battalion. We had to go out every night and make sure that the battalion was taken care of, and we were all out here on patrols and in foxholes and that, guarding the main battalion so nothing would happen to them. And that was my job, basically out at night, try to get a little sleep during the day, but every night was to go out. And finally we had an operation, it was called Operation DeSoto, I believe. And we went out, and we had to be in a town called Chulai, and the helicopters came in the morning to pick us up. Went out there, and we were supposed to meet some resistance, but when we landed, there wasn't much resistance at all. So then we went out and started getting ready for the evening to do what we do, take care of the main group. And my squad leader had heard some small arm fire at the top of a hill, and we were at the base of the hill. And he said, Solace, let's go check it out, see what's going on. So up the hill we went, and then I heard some shooting and that going on, small arms, rifles, pistols. And so we ducked behind a rock, a boulder, and I heard Marines up at the top, and I go like, hey, there's Marines up there already. That's their problem. Let them take care of it. We'll go back to our squad. So as we left the big boulders and that, there was a big explosion. And I thought maybe somebody had spotted us from the enemy and dropped in a mortar or threw a grenade or something. It was just a big explosion. And it blew my rifle and cartridge belt off of me and that. And I just thought, I saw a little blood on my hand and arms, and I thought, well, they didn't get me too bad. You know, I just saw little blood, and I'm fine. So I hit the ground and started rolling. And then I realized that something was wrong. And that's when I looked down and I noticed that my leg was gone. And then I'm crawling looking for my rifle, thinking whoever did this is going to come and try to finish us off. So I'm crawling around looking for my rifle, looking for any kind of weapon. I couldn't find anything. And the guy that was with me, Turner, he got hit from the explosions, from shrapnel. And because explosions go out in a V. And he was behind me, so he caught a lot of shrapnel wounds. And he wasn't hurt real bad, but he looked bad because of all the cut and blood. And he right away wanted to know how I was doing, and I told him, I said, I need a lot of help. And he goes, I'll be right back. So I heard the voices again from the hill, and they were American voices, Marines. So I was in some tall grass and that, and I waved my hand, and I yelled for the medic, and they all gathered, and I could see them, and they said, don't move, you might be in a minefield. And I went, oh, shit. And so finally, I'm going, how come they're not moving? How come they're not coming? And finally, the corpsman from their group came and got me. And he started first aid on me right away, adding some clear liquid in a bottle. I didn't know much what he was doing, but he was picking and poking on me and that. And he said, we're going to call in a helicopter, get you on a hook, and take you out of here. And I told him, no, I'm not going up on a hook and rope, because I figured I'd be a dangling target. And I said, every gook in the area is going to take a shot at me just for the hell of it. And I said, no, I'm not going up on a hook. Then they carried me out. They threw me on a helicopter that had just fired a bunch of rockets, and they threw me on the floor, wrapped me in a poncho, and took me to a field hospital, which you guys might know, like a MASH unit in the field. And that was basically it. They flew me to a hospital ship, and they said, you're going home.